everybody just jumped back. They couldn't believe it.
The first time Little House on the Prairie flickered onto television screens, viewers felt a spark that seemed almost enchanted. Michael Landon and Karen Grassel, playing Charles and Caroline Ingalls, wrapped audiences in warmth and laughter. Yet hidden behind that glow was a shadow no one guessed existed. For years, Karen Grassel guarded a painful secret, but the silence has shattered. The woman who embodied Ma has finally spoken, and what she survived will stun you. Mistreatment. Tension you could slice with a knife. A working partnership that looked perfect yet felt poisonous. So what truly happened on that beloved set? What did Michael Landon do that drove Karen to the brink? Keep watching, because this is the Little House the public never saw. Grassle enjoyed nearly 10 years as America's favorite television mother. Viewers saw her as a gentle pioneer who held the Ingalls family steady. Long before that fame, though, her journey began in Northern California. Born in 1942, she moved to Ventura at age 5, already dreaming of applause. Dance lessons led to school plays, and ambition lit a fierce fire. After Ventura High School in 1959, she chased education with unstoppable energy. 1 year at Sophie Newcomb Memorial College was followed by a transfer to the University of California, Berkeley, where she earned 2 degrees in English and Dramatic Art in 1965. A Fulbright fellowship soon whisked her to the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, and the training changed her life. Graceful yet determined, she returned home ready to conquer any stage. Summer seasons at the Stanford Contemporary Workshop and the Colorado Shakespeare Festival sharpened her classical edge. Her first paid role came at Memphis's Front Street Theater, then New York City beckoned. She crisscrossed the country, thriving in resident and stock troupes, refusing to quit until the lights found her. Television soon noticed. Appearances on PBS Originals and 3 network soap operas opened new doors. In 1968, she stepped onto Broadway in The Gingham Dog. She later stood in for Gloria Swanson, Rosemary Murphy, and others in Butterflies Are Free, proving her range night after night. A Denver run of Butterflies paired her with Maureen O'Sullivan and Brandon Wilde, whose sudden death after the last curtain shocked everyone. Another highlight arrived when Shakespeare in the Park chose her for Cymbeline beside Christopher Walken, Sam Waterston, and William Devane. Audiences witnessed her versatility, but the role that changed everything lurked just ahead. An audition for Caroline Ingalls appeared almost out of thin air. Television crowds barely knew her name, yet once she stepped into Ma's shoes, history was forged. Little House on the Prairie launched in 1974 and lasted 9 treasured seasons. Right after filming the pilot, she popped up on Gunsmoke and The Wiving, playing a saloon girl caught in a daring abduction. Film work followed, including Harry's War opposite Edward Herrmann and Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner. Grassel also co-wrote and starred in the NBC drama Battered, shining a fierce light on real harm faced by women. Off camera, she battled for federal funds for shelters and spoke non-stop for the Equal Rights Amendment. Her voice never wavered. Made-for-TV movies such as Cocaine, One Man Seduction, Crisis in Midair, and Between the Darkness and the Dawn expanded her resume. She dropped in on Hotel, The Love Boat, and Murder, She Wrote. Daytime audiences met her warmth on Dinah, The Merv Griffin Show, and The Mike Douglas Show. When Prairie life ended, theater welcomed her back. She co-founded Resource Theater Company in Santa Fe before joining Actors Theater of Louisville. In 2006, she settled in the San Francisco Bay Area, starring in Cabaret, The Ride Down Mount Morgan, Theater Works Productions, and more. Her tour of driving Miss Daisy stretched from Manitoba to Virginia, and Cabaret earned her an Outstanding Achievement Award in 2008. She even became the face of Premier Bathrooms, proving grace sells anything. In 2021, Grassle returned to film in Not to Forget, a drama highlighting Alzheimer's awareness. Through triumph and loss, she remained a classically trained powerhouse and fearless advocate. Landing Ma's role felt like magic. She was thrilled to read opposite Michael Landon, the heartthrob known for Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza. Yet the dream turned dark. Once NBC ordered the series, Landon, who acted, wrote, directed, and produced, seized absolute power over casting. 47 actresses lined up for Caroline Ingalls. Her parody nearly won, but Landon chose Grassel, saying she looked like a pioneer woman. Grassle lacked on-screen experience, yet Landon preferred performers with theater depth and light Hollywood baggage. He brought in Catherine McGregor and Richard Bull the same way. Casting children proved even harder. He rejected polished child stars in favor of authenticity. He handpicked Melissa Sue Anderson as Mary and Melissa Gilbert as Laura, nicknaming them Missy and Half Pint. Little Carrie required identical twins Lindsay and Sidney Greenbush because child labor laws restricted hours. On paper, the ensemble seemed perfect, but brewing under those Prairie smiles was real storm. While the pair looked like the ideal frontier couple, tension grew fast. Grassle felt a pay gap that stung. Before season 2, she asked for a raise, convinced her work deserved more. She later claimed Landon blocked the request, telling her the audience wasn't that fond of Ma, and that her paycheck should mirror the younger actors. Power imbalance, hurtful comments, and unequal treatment built an atmosphere that crushed her spirit. The charming hero on screen could become intimidating once the camera stopped. Grassle's courage to reveal this hidden history gives fans a very different picture of a cherished series. Behind the wholesome frontier lay struggle, silence, and survival. The Prairie's bright sunrise hit a storm that raged far from the public eye. Tension exploded after that failed pay raise, and the mood on set flipped overnight. Karen Grassel said Michael Landon started erasing her from big plots, greeting her with cool shrugs and acting as if she was made of air. His icy jokes and sharp whispers felt like tiny cuts every single day. The role that should have been a dream was draining her heart dry. Yet her misery did not end with bruised pride. The costumes that looked so charming on television were silent torment during filming. Each actress was packed in layers of tights, petticoats, boots, and long sleeves while California sun roasted the Simi Valley location at more than 100 degrees. Allison Arngrim, the star who made Nellie Olson deliciously wicked, remembered her first shooting day when the heat hit triple digits. She skipped breakfast, tried to work, and soon felt dizzy. She said she sounded like someone speaking from a hospital bed. Moments later, her sight went black. A medic jolted her awake, and she still finished the scene, proving that the real villain was the sun and those heavy skirts. Landon's workload was also staggering. He acted, wrote, produced, and directed, often lifting whole ideas from his Bonanza days. Viewers later noticed entire Little House plots that mirrored older Bonanza episodes right down to camera moves. A Matter of Circumstance from 1970 became a matter of faith 6 years later, with only the injured characters switched. Another Bonanza tale named A Dream to Dream laid the path for Someone Please Love Me. Recycling saved time yet showed how eager Landon was to reuse proven beats. Hairstyling added more pain. In the beginning, Nellie's golden ringlets were Allison's own locks. She slept in curlers and arrived at 4:30 every morning for an iron touch-up. When the wardrobe team built her a wig, they fastened it with a metal comb and dozens of pins, so it survived every fight scene. Those pins stabbed her scalp until tiny cuts bled. The hairdresser would dash in with a sting of antiseptic, then filming rolled on. Even the Ingalls house was accused of being too cozy. Co-creator Ed Friendly believed the show drifted far from Laura Ingalls Wilder's books. He said the network polished the family until they sparkled, letting the children wear shoes and trading a sod home for a framed cottage because an executive thought dirt walls were too depressing. Friendly joked the series should be named How Affluent Is My Prairie and claimed the Ingalls owned everything but a Cadillac. Disgusted, he left before the premiere, while the show marched on without him. Little House felt magical to viewers, but the cast wrestled with real hardship. Invisible wounds, fainting spells, professional snubs, and emotional bruises piled up behind every smile. The sweet tales of Walnut Grove hit high costs that some actors paid in silence. Grassle's private life was just as rocky. Her 2021 memoir, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, shocked readers with confessions about an alcohol battle that mirrored her father's addiction. She recalled a cast luncheon in 1977 where one glass of wine sparked relentless cravings. Days later, she drank before a speech at a feminist conference and felt ashamed when her words dragged. A friend fresh from Alcoholics Anonymous told her the truth, and she could not deny it. She tried quitting alone and failed, then chose sobriety with help. Months later, her father died from the same disease, a grim warning she never forgot. She has stayed clear-eyed ever since, determined to protect her health and her talent. The book also detailed Landon's darker side. Grassle said he filled the set with dirty jokes, mocked her looks, and brushed off her plea for fair pay, insisting she did not deserve more than the child actors. At the height of the show's success, she still earned only $2,000 to $4,000 a week. The pay gap stung, but the ridicule cut even deeper. Decades later, fans still cherish the wholesome world of Walnut Grove. Yet Karen Grassel's revelations show that purity on screen sometimes masks struggle, sweat, and personal storms behind the lens. When Karen Grassel asked Michael Landon for a raise at the start of Season 2, he immediately shut her down. He told her bluntly that she wasn't nearly as popular as she believed, and her paycheck should reflect that. Grassel felt insulted, shocked by the harsh response. All she wanted was fair pay for being the co-star of a hit series. But after that exchange, things took a dark turn. Grassel began noticing her scenes disappearing, her importance shrinking episode by episode. Landon's treatment became cold, distant, and cruel, and when he wasn't ignoring her, he was openly mocking her in front of crew members, taking cheap shots at her appearance and facial expressions. Grassel recalled feeling frozen in those moments, unable to speak up or defend herself. As a woman working in 1970s television, enduring insults seemed part of the job. So she kept quiet, stayed professional, and hoped things would get better. But they only got worse. The cruelty didn't end with casual insults. Grassel remembered Landon's language on set as vulgar and offensive. She revealed he would often use crude words about women's bodies, even in front of the whole crew. The worst moments, she said, were during their tender bedroom scenes. While filming intimate conversations fans loved, Landon would make shocking jokes, leaving Grassel feeling trapped and humiliated. She described lying there, surrounded by men in bright lights, wishing desperately she could escape. Yet, despite all that hurt, Grassel eventually reconciled with Landon in the years after the show. She felt grateful their relationship improved before Landon passed away in 1991. Many others also praised Landon, recalling him as warm, funny, and caring. But Grassel's revelations exposed another side, one far less wholesome. And she wasn't alone. Melissa Sue Anderson, who played Mary Ingalls, also shared troubling memories in her own memoir, The Way I See It, a look back at my life on Little House. Anderson called Landon a good father, but also controlling on set, known for publicly teasing certain cast members relentlessly. She even described Landon's explosive finale, blowing up Walnut Grove, as motivated by revenge. He didn't want anyone else using the sets after the series ended. As beloved as Little House remains, behind the scenes, tensions ran high. Landon's genius and charm masked intense pressure, quiet pain, and hidden conflicts. And Karen Grassel's experience showed how difficult speaking up could be at a time when silence was expected. Michael Landon's behavior wasn't limited to Little House, either. Even though he's remembered as an incredibly talented actor, writer, director, and producer, his legacy off-screen was more complicated. Behind the camera, he was known for being emotionally volatile, difficult, and often demeaning, particularly towards women. When Karen Grassel finally spoke out, others quickly supported her claims. Allison Arngrim, known for her role as the wicked Nellie Olson, described Landon in equally blunt terms. At an event honoring Bob Hope, Arngrim openly said Landon was nothing like the wholesome farmer audiences saw. Instead, he drank heavily, smoked constantly, made crude jokes, and created an atmosphere that resembled a male-dominated world of madmen. To her, the set felt like an old boys' club, where offensive jokes weren't just allowed, they flourished. Arngrim recalled Landon driving his Ferrari, chain-smoking, rarely sleeping, and operating at an exhausting pace 24/7. While she personally had no conflict with him, she admitted he was marvelous, yet also crazy. His eccentric behavior entertained her, but she understood why he wasn't everyone's favorite. He lived extravagantly, had multiple marriages, and was far from modest, completely unlike his humble on-screen character. Though Arngrim didn't share Grassel's trauma, she confirmed the darker side of Landon's behavior. The beloved Pa Ingalls was complicated, flawed, unpredictable, and reckless with his power. His dominance on set was absolute, and few dared challenge him. Those who suffered in silence, like Grassel, waited decades before finally speaking out. Grassel's memoir wasn't intended to destroy Landon's legacy, but it complicated his public image. Her story exposed the real price of brilliance without humility. She forced fans to see the real people behind the characters. Arngrim also wrote a bestseller, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, How I Survived Nellie Olson, and Learned to Love Being Hated. In it, she emphasized how, despite the dysfunction, filming created a family bond. Even behind the scenes, that family was fractured and tense. Today, Little House remains a nostalgic symbol of wholesome American life. But for some cast members, the truth is far darker. Beneath those glowing prairie sunsets lay painful memories, power struggles, and silence that stings to this day. Long before Michael Landon became America's favorite frontier dad on Little House, he was already famous as a charismatic Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza. Both shows became iconic, loved for their heartwarming family values. But behind the camera, tensions ran high, and Landon's controlling streak first emerged during his Bonanza days. The Ponderosa Ranch set became the training ground where Landon learned to dominate creatively, sparking clashes with co-stars and crew. Even then, he was known for his intensity and stubbornness, qualities that both charmed and frustrated his colleagues. Hollywood sets often experience feuds and rivalries, but sometimes behind-the-scenes tension can overshadow the show itself. When actors feud, the work environment can turn toxic, making it hard for viewers to separate drama from reality. Bonanza was no exception. The legendary Western aired from 1959 to 1973, lasting an incredible 14 seasons. Such longevity requires dedication, consistency, and resilience from the entire cast and crew. At its heart was Michael Landon, playing Little Joe, a role that mirrored his own fiery temperament. Tom Ito, who interviewed Landon, described Little Joe as rebellious, hot-tempered, and spirited, exactly like the young actor himself. Behind the scenes, Landon's fiercely energetic personality caused friction, especially with director William Claxton. Claxton openly criticized Landon in interviews, calling him pugnacious and even a brat during the early seasons. Their battles were frequent, fueled by Landon's youthful defiance. Yet as the years passed, even Claxton acknowledged Landon's transformation. The fiery actor matured into an obsessive, driven artist fascinated by every aspect of TV production, writing, directing, and producing. His earlier restlessness became focused creativity. Instead of battling the system, he began shaping it. By the time he started Little House, Landon wasn't merely an actor. He was a creator with total control. His Bonanza experience taught him how to dominate a set, craft powerful stories, and execute his personal vision. But that power came at a cost. His controlling nature made working conditions difficult for some of his colleagues. While many praised his brilliance, others found him impossible to deal with. Karen Grassel and Allison Arngrim later described working with Landon on Little House as emotionally taxing. For some actors, he was a respected mentor. For others, he was a harsh boss whose behavior left lasting scars. The contradiction defined him. A man capable of warmth, charm, and kindness on screen, yet off-screen could be cold, demanding, and cruel. Michael Landon's career arc was dramatic, beginning as a youthful firebrand, evolving into a powerful creative force. He could make audiences laugh or cry on camera while sparking tension behind the scenes. His legacy is layered, both inspiring and troubling, just like the shows he helped build. Bonanza shaped Michael Landon, just as he shaped Bonanza. He grew up on that set, refining his talents and using those lessons to control his creative future. While his methods were sometimes controversial, his impact on television remains undeniable. Fans still debate his complicated legacy, admiring his talent, while wrestling with the troubling revelations about his behind-the-scenes behavior. Landon was deeply human, brilliant, flawed, and unforgettable. What do you think about Michael Landon? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click on the next video on your screen.